Alright, so this is going to be a review of the Drunkdeer A75. This is a keyboard Drunkdeer did send out to me. This is a Hall Effect Wooting competitor. Yes, it is a Wooting competitor, and I will try my best to compare it in this video. I might just make a completely separate video, but here's the box. And thank you so much for sending it out to me, and use my codes in the description to save you money on all sorts of websites. Alright, so let's go over the specs of this keyboard first. So this is a $130 keyboard built. 120 unbuilt. The difference is you get these keycaps. It comes in black or white. I obviously have the white here. 55-gram Hall Effect switches made by Raesha, I believe, Raesha. I will show you these switches, obviously, but they do have kale sides, and I completely forgot to add this, so I'm adding it in now. This keyboard is 0.4 millimeters to 3.6. The Wooting is 0.1 to 4 millimeters. So just setting that straight. And they do have a never miss function, which is their implementation of rapid trigger, which I will go over when we get to the software. So let's go over to the main parts of the board first. Actually, we'll start with the inside. So I am holding the keycap puller here. I'm sorry if the camera's all messed up. It's really sunny. I can't really control it. So yes, I am holding the keycap puller here. I don't know why. I just kind of wanted to hold it. And here's the box. Obviously it says, oh, it is for Mac as well. There's going to be Mac keys in here, but here, I'll show you the stuff that you get. So you do get this cable. This cable actually really interests me. This is something more companies need to do. Take note. So this is a USB to USB-C cable, but it comes with an adapter to USB. That's actually sick. And it is a nice quality cable. It's white. And yeah. You also get a dust cover. You get this piece of foam here, which you can put in the keyboard itself. There's a tiny bit of case ping, and the keyboard's very easy to open. It doesn't use screws. It uses like these pins that you have to these clips, and you just drive a flathead screwdriver or a nail thingy, and just it opens. And you can put this in there. It does come with foam in there, but you can add a little bit more. And here's all the combinations for keys and stuff. You have your Mac stuff, and it does come with the Mac keys here. And yes, there is software, as I said, so you don't really need this, but yeah, and it does come with a manual. And these are the things that came on the box just to secure it, so yeah. Of course, you get this nice little keycap puller. The only other thing is, I would say I wish they did give a switch puller, because this is a hot swap. You can take the switches out, but it's only proprietary, of course. Keyboard. But before we get into the switches, let's talk about the overall build of this keyboard, and it's great. It is obviously all plastic, but it is a 75 keyboard. 75%. It comes in only 75%. It does have a knob that you can remove. If I can find the removement point. There we go. And it just kind of slips back on. So you can press it down. It's not wobbly at all. It's in there great, and it goes in increments of 2. So remember that. The keycaps are probably the weakest point of the build. They're very just thin ABS. I'll show you a little keycap here. As you can see here, they are very thin, especially compared to a Wooting keycap. They are just very thin. And I have put PBT keycaps on this, and it does sound very good. But I will just give a quick thing here. This keyboard stock sounds 10 times better than the Wooting. But yeah, so everything here is quality. There's no flexing. There's no creaking. The stabilizers are almost perfect. They're the best stock stabilizers I've used. The switches are pre-lubed 55 gram. They are smoother than the Wootings. But the difference is it faster? We'll get into that. So the 55 grams does feel like 55 grams. It's not heavy at all. You're going to be fine. It's a solid medium weight. And yeah, there is flip up feet. There's silicone feet that keep it in place. The build is fine. And as I said, this is where the screws, there's not screws. There's just these little things up here. You slide a screwdriver under here, pop it, and slide it across, and it opens. Now, let's get on to the switch. As I said, these are the switches here. They are considered Raesha switches. I don't know. They're clear. I don't know what materials they're made out of. I'm just going to assume they're just standard kale switches. They don't feel like they're made out of anything special, but they are. look like kale switches, honestly. They have the sides of kale switches. Resume. I'm going to assume the housings are just like standard polycarb housings. And I don't know what the stem is. But they're very, very stable, considerably more stable than the Lecker switches. They have no movement, left really a little bit up or down, not really much left to right, and super, super, super smooth. The springs in them are great. And if you don't know what a Hall effect switch is, it's basically a switch that is activated by a magnet. I don't know if it's going to focus, but you can kind of see it down here. This is the magnet, and it goes right down into the PCB. And this is the PCB. Boom. As you can see, you're not fitting any other switch in there. There is an LED on the switch. The RGB is extremely bright, which I will show off. So, yeah. These switches are a 10 out of 10 for Hall effect. They sound great. They're pre-lubed. They're great. The colors are perfect. They're spot on. It's great. So, there's nothing to worry about there. I promise you that. And now let's get into a sound test comparison between the Wooting. Wooting 60HE on a mat. As you can see there, it just sounds better. There's not really a competition. It sounds cleaner, it sounds deeper, it sounds smoother, it just sounds better. But that's not the end all be all, because they promote rapid trigger on this keyboard, but it's not really like that. And that's where the downside for me came in. When I came into this keyboard, they told me it was just like the Wooting rapid trigger. It's not. It's a 2 actuation point system that's not continuous, so you have to pass through another actuation point, which I'll show you in the software, to bring your key back up. It's not continuous wherever you want throughout the press, and that sucked for me because the switches are 0.4 millimeters to 3.6, and that's not as fast as 0.1 to 0.4, but it's still fast. And the switches feel so much better. They sound so much better. I was hoping the rapid trigger was going to be of the same quality, but it's not. It's just not as fast of a keyboard. It's 1,000 hertz scan rate, all of that. It's all good. The speeds are all good, but the rapid trigger is not there. All right, so as we can see here, this is the software. It is in beta, so maybe they do add a full rapid trigger. But right now, there's a lot of problems with the software that you have to do every key manually. Like every key that I want to enable it on, I have to click through and do manually, and I have to adjust the actuation point manually. So that does need to be fixed, but I assume it will be because it says only for testing. But you see how this rapid trigger right here, there is another point here. So when I go to key tracking, right, boom, it actuates right here, but I can't reactuate within this point. I have to go past this one, then I can reactuate down here again. Throughout this range right here, it's a normal key press, just like any other key press. But I can reactuate when I go past here. And it's not as accurate. You can see the increments are much larger than they would be on the Wooting for key presses that they're tracking, which does suck. But I do think that this keyboard's, and obviously you have your LEDs, you have your macros, your stuff like that. But to say that, this keyboard still has a huge use. Because I saw within the custom keyboard community that a lot of people were buying the Wooting for Hall effects specifically, and not the things like rapid trigger and stuff like that. And if you're looking for a Hall effect keyboard to type on, oh my god, this thing feels this feels a lot better than a lot of custom keyboards I've used. The switches are great. These are the best switches I think I've ever used in my lifetime, smoothness wise. if you're looking for a keyboard just to type on and you want the smoothest switch, buy this. Buy it right now. Nothing should be stopping you. It's smoother than the Wooting. It feels better. The difference with gaming is the Wooting springs rebound faster, but the Wooting springs rebound faster than everything. These springs just feel like standard springs. If you're a keyboard enthusiast and you want a Hall effect keyboard, don't buy the Wooting. Buy this. You will not use the Wooting's rapid trigger in typing. Buy this. Feels better. It sounds better. It's a better deal. It's $50 cheaper. $50 cheaper. It's probably a better layout for a lot of people. And obviously you can still add whatever keycaps you want on this. So I would say this replaces the Hall effect custom keyboard market, but for gaming, no, it doesn't. The Wooting is still king in that area. It's not going to be beaten, I don't think. The Razer's analog isn't as good. It's just not going to be beaten, I don't think. So that's the end of this video. If they do update the software, I will 100% make another video on this and add real rapid trigger, but that is going to be the end of this video. Peace.